I asked this question last night, and I'm not a videographer by any means, and this is why we're doing this again, because you had said that when you were writing the book, or when you read the book, that you put it to a 50-50 test case with men and women.
Yes.
Because you wanted to ensure that there was no implied bashing for men, and which I think, I mean, we kind of have to applaud you on that, right? For having that mindset and realizing that could definitely be an opportunity or something that could happen with a book coming out like this, because there are 10 very strong female images and representatives and stories in here, and you do have some male associations in them, but they're not the interviewees. They're not kind of the meat and the potatoes of the chapters here.
Right.
There are men that have given advice and have been there, but I think being cognizant of that ability or that to happen is very smart. But also, because there are 10 strong female
10
figures, 10
plus me, so
11 for sure. Because there are 11 strong females represented in here, like I said, it could have the opportunity of kind of not being picked up or being overlooked by men. And
right.
So myself, in reading it, I told you my initial perception or my initial expectation was really just to get, I don't know, into your mind and understand where you were coming from, and it was more anthropological. I didn't think that I was going to actually relate to this, and I was wildly incorrect, because as I said yesterday, if you take out the female names and the pronouns, anyone reading this can relate to it. There's a lot of relatability. So in making sure that there is a male audience out there that understands that, even though this is touching on stories that are coming from the female perspective, it is still very powerful for them, and it can help. And you were saying yesterday how you've had reviews from men.
Yes, I have been so pleasantly surprised. I think I bet it's probably half, if not it's 40-45% of my reviews on Amazon are from men. And some of them are just really interesting. One's a divorce lawyer saying, I need to give these to my clients. And I'm like, yes, order a box of books, please. How do I track you down? And some of them are just saying, I was completely surprised by this. And he said, and the reason he immediately related to me was because I had hiked the Camino de Santiago. And so he read, and he just said, this was not what I was expecting, and wow. And he gave me a long review, and I have no idea who that man is, and it just really meant a lot to me. It means a lot to me when my friends who are male give me those reviews, but complete strangers, it's very gratifying. And half of my beta readers were men. And that thought initially came to me because I didn't want to be accused of ex-husband bashing or any, and if the ladies and I did talk about something like that, I cut it out of the interview.
Yeah.
And I had some great editors who were catching anything. But my friend Lindsay, who I also met on the Camino, was the first male reader, and he is just one of the most tenderhearted, really in touch with his feelings male that I know. I mean, he is just like really, he's just done a lot of work, and he's Australian, and they're just like into the woo woo over there a little more than the men are here. And so he was my first check, and then I kind of got feedback from him. I made some adjustments, and then I sent it to other males that I know, and I thought it really worked out great, and I was getting feedback immediately, like this is going to help people, and you're doing the right thing. Stay on this path, and because awesome. I think I was probably through like chapter 5 when I started the beta, and because I wanted to make sure you don't want to keep writing when you're on the wrong path. So anyway,
and there is still something to note about the diversity in the book too, because we are talking about different stories and different experiences, and this isn't all just divorcees talking about how they overcame the legal battles and the splitting of possessions and moving out and children and all that.
Yeah, it's almost none of that,
Yeah.
really. I mean, my story is about divorce, but the other 10 people are completely different stories.
And they're all over the place. The people
Yeah,
that
there's
never
some people
meet
that
up.
have been divorced, but they're remarried and
Yeah.
have been for a long time. And
There was a relationship that stayed together, and they just talked about turbulences in the relationship.
that's one of my, chapter 3 is one of my favorites.
That's
It's
one of
called
my favorites.
It's Fight for It or Not.
Right.
And it is about how this couple fought to stay together. And they're together and they're very happy. And she shares the tools that the two of them use to get back to each other. And they're really quite simple. They're really simple things to do, and I'm not going to tell them here, so they have to